Tamilnadu Congress Committee சார்பாகவும் கோயம்புத்தூர் காங்கிரஸ் கமிட்டி சார்பாகவும் இந்த பத்திரிகையாளர் சந்திப்பு ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. டெல்லியிலேருந்து ஆல் இந்தியா காங்கிரஸ் கமிட்டியின் ரிசர்ச் ஹெட் வந்திருக்காரு. இவர் பேர் அமிதாப் தூபே. இன்னைக்கு இந்தியா முழுக்க 57 இடத்துல இந்த ப்ரெஸ் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் நடந்துட்டு இருக்குது. தமிழ்நாட்டில் மதுரையிலும் கோயம்புத்தூர்லேயும் நடக்குது. இந்த ப்ரெஸ் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் நேஷனல் ஹெரால்டு கேஸ் என்ன, அதில் என்ன தவறா அன்னை சோனியா மேலேயும் ராகுல் காந்தி மேலேயும் மற்ற மூத்த காங்கிரஸ் தலைவர்கள் மேலேயும் தேவையில்லாத அலிகேஷன் போட்டிருக்காங்க. இந்த கேஸை சுப்பிரமணியம் சுவாமி 13 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடியே 10 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடியே ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணார். 11 வருஷமாக அவரால் கேஸை சரியாக நடத்த முடியல. இப்போ சுப்பிரமணியம் சுவாமியே பிரதமர் மோடி மேலே கேஸ் போடுவேன், அவரை ஜெயிலுக்கு அனுப்புவேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னோன்னா எங்கேயாவது சுவாமி கேஸை வாபஸ் வாங்கி பெல்ட்டி அடிச்சிருவாருங்கிற பயத்தில் இடியை ராகுல் காந்தி மேலேயும் சோனியா காந்தி மேலேயும் ஏவி விட்டுருக்காங்க. எங்கள் தலைவர் ராகுல் காந்தி சொன்ன மாதிரி ஏதாவது எங்கள்கிட்ட இருந்தால் தான் நாங்கள் பயப்படணும். அவங்க 2 பேரும் ஒரு தவறும் செய்யலை. 11 வருஷம் முடிஞ்சு 11 வருஷம் பிஜேபி ஆட்சி நடந்தப்புறம் 2012 நடந்ததை திரும்பி எடுத்து ஒரு கேஸுன்னு போட்டிருக்காங்க. இது சட்டம் டெஃபினட்டாக எங்களுக்கு நியாயம் கொடுக்கும். எப்படி வினோதராய் மாதிரி மேல்ஜாதி ஆதிக்கத்தை வச்சு 1,76,000 கோடின்னு பொய் பிரச்சாரம் பண்ணி 11 வருஷம் கழித்து ஒரு ஆளை கூட எங்களால் ஜெயிலுக்கு அனுப்ப முடியல. கோல் கேஸ்லேருந்தும் காங்கிரஸ் கட்சியை சேர்ந்த ஒரு ஆளாலையும் ஜெயிலில் அனுப்ப முடியாத மாதிரி இப்போ வேற என்ன பண்ண முடியும் பார்த்துட்டு இந்த கேஸை போட்டிருக்காங்க. இந்த கேஸை பற்றி அவர் முழுசாக விளக்குவார். அதை நீங்கள் கேளுங்க. உங்களுக்கு தமிழ்லையும் இங்கிலீஷ்லேயும் ப்ரெஸ் நோட் எங்கள் டீம் கொடுப்பாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் இங்கிலீஷில் கேட்டிங்கன்னா அவரே பதில் சொல்லிடுவார். தமிழில் உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது போனா நான் பதில் சொல்கிறேன். அமிதாப் பேசுவார்.
Thank you very much. I want to begin my comments by making 2 broad points. The first is that this is a campaign of pettiness and political vendetta by the BJP, by the very forces that were undermining the Indian freedom struggle then and are today attacking those who fought for freedom, including the National Herald and its sister publications that even today are speaking up against injustice, anyay, and the policies of the government. This is part of a pattern of intimidation and unconstitutional activity using the investigative agencies we have repeatedly seen. We saw that the electoral bond scam that the Supreme Court ruled unconstitutional was using ED, CBI income tax to generate revenues for the BJP through raids and blackmail. We have seen how these agencies have been used to enrich the close friends of the Prime Minister, this is all well known, and transfer valuable national assets into his hands. We have also seen how these forces have been used to break opposition parties. There was a time when 1/3 of a party would go over to the BJP. Now we are at a time when 2/3 of parties are being forced to go over to the BJP. So my first point is that this use or misuse of the Enforcement Directorate is a part of a long-standing pattern under Modi and Shah. The second point I'd like to make is that even as we look at the allegations and counter-allegations, I want to remind you that the National Herald, which was a sick company earlier, has now become a going concern. It is a successful newspaper. It has 2 English editions. It has a Hindi edition. It has an Urdu edition. So if all of these accusations were true, this would be the first case where some behavior or some wrong activity has taken a sick company and made it successful. So this should be a record of sorts in legal history. So obviously the allegations are misplaced. I want to remind you that the National Herald was set up in 1937-38 by Jawaharlal Nehru, Acharya Narendra Dev, Purushottam Das Tandon, Mr. Kidwai. These are all freedom fighters. And it was even banned in 1942 during the Quit India movement for 3 years. So being banned and attacked is something that the Congress Party and the National Herald have seen before, and we are seeing it again. The question is, why did we have to do this? For many years, the Associated Journals, which is the parent company of National Herald, went into losses. It had many properties, 6 properties in various cities, but the paper, it had huge accumulated losses, debt problem, etc. To solve this, a very serious set of lawyers, chartered accountants were consulted, and Young Indian was set up to take ownership of, or to become a shareholder of this company. Associated Journals and its assets remain a separate entity. Young Indian is the controlling shareholder. If tomorrow I become the controlling shareholder or even a minority shareholder of a company, it does not mean that I own the assets, that I can take the assets and use them as I will. All I am entitled to is the dividend as a shareholder. Now, Young Indian is a Section 8 company. It's a non-profit. So I don't even get dividend. I don't even get interest. I cannot make any money. So the shareholders cannot take any money from this company, which has now become a going concern. The shareholders cannot sell any of the 6 properties. 5 of the properties were either leasehold or given by the government for the express purpose of setting up a newspaper. 1 is a freehold property which has not been sold. So nor can the properties be sold, nor have the properties been sold. So all of these allegations are based on mere indication and hypothesis. No alleged crime has been committed, as everyone has said. For 1 decade up to 2011, the Congress party extended 90 crores in loans to Associated Journals because salaries were not being paid, VRS could not be done, gratuity could not be paid, taxes were not being paid. Because this money was lent to a sick company, the chances of recovery were minimum. So this was converted into equity. There was what is called a debt to equity swap, by which Young Indian became the controlling shareholder. Now, debt to equity swaps are a fundamental pillar of the bankruptcy code of India. When Ramdev took over Ruchi Soya, Patanjali took over Ruchi Soya, they did so through a debt equity swap. Ruchi Soya was a sick company. When the Modi government took over Vodafone, or took a large stake in Vodafone, it extinguished 36,000 crores of debt. So a debt equity swap is very commonplace, legal, and there are no issues with it. You can ask any CA. You can walk into the first CA you find in your colony and they will tell you this very simple fact. So what is the problem? When the case was started, when Subramaniam Swamy, who by the way has since vanished, you will not hear from him about this case because that case has not gone anywhere because there is no case. When that process began, the Election Commission in 2012 looked to see if there were any issues with the Congress party extending loans to a newspaper. Now, one thing I want to mention is that first, Election Commission found there was no violation in 2012. Not only was there no violation, under the Constitution's Article 51A(b), I will read it out to you, Article 51A(b). This is important because this is actually in the Constitution. It says, "It shall be the duty of every citizen of India to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom." So actually, the Congress party is doing its constitutional duty by supporting the National Herald in any which way it can. So the ECI said in 2012, there is no problem. ED, the same ED who has filed a charge sheet, we don't know what's in the charge sheet, we know there's a charge sheet. ED Director Ranjan Katoch in August 2015 closed the case, obviously because nothing there. He was quickly transferred, and then the Modi-Shah Nautanki began. This whole process was whipped up. You know, our leaders were brought into ED questioning for many hours. Rahul Gandhi was there for many hours. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi was also interviewed. Nothing came of that. On 10th April 24, there was a provisional attachment order. You have to make it, you have to produce a charge sheet within 365 days. On the 364th day, the charge sheet was presented. So obviously they had nothing to say until then. Just to make sure that the process, the drama continues, they have filed a charge sheet. We don't know what's in the charge sheet. We don't know what the accusations are. So anything that anyone says is hypothetical until the charge sheet is made public. There is obviously a political reason for this. Recently, the Congress party went to Gujarat. We had a session in Ahmedabad. We are issuing a direct challenge to Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah that we will not leave their base secure, that we will contest the Gujarat election with full force. This has made them afraid. This has worried them, and therefore they are doing the same activities that they were doing last year during the general election. You will remember they froze our accounts. So this is the typical politics of Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah. The party that took part in the freedom struggle, that led the freedom struggle, whose publications, National Herald and its sister publication, were part of the struggle, is not afraid of this. We are not worried about it, but we want to put our points to the public, and therefore we are doing these press conferences. We are not afraid. We are going to wage this campaign until every Indian fully understands what the facts are and what the hollowness of the government's case is. Thank you. We have also a Q&A, some fact check document which we will be distributing to you, where it has all the usual allegations that are made and the rebuttal to that, and my colleagues will be sharing them with you. Thank you.
Your campaign is going to be against the central government or against the ED?
There is no difference. Our campaign is political. The ED is not only is there no difference between the central government and ED, but between the BJP and ED. So our campaign is against the central government and it's against injustice. And if the ED is going to take part in these activities, then obviously the ED has to answer for it. But our questions are aimed at Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, who are the true people behind this.
Rahul ji owns 35% shares, Sonia ji owns 35% shares. Why are they shareholders? Is the case only because of that? Explain what is this actually.
No, this is very clearly political. There is absolutely no illegality in being a shareholder of a non-profit in a company that is engaging in some activity. There is no issue. The act of ownership is not illegal. The ED only comes in, and Section 8 companies, as I mentioned, you cannot take profits, you cannot take dividends, you cannot sell assets. So that is one thing. But the second and more important thing is ED only comes in when there's actual transactions. Money laundering means some money has to be laundered, some money has to move from A to B. Then the ED will say whether it was illegal or not illegal. No money has moved. So what is the locus standi of ED? No one knows. But they are being used as a tool of political, pressure.